This is Justin Scoop on October 10th, 2025. Taking a look at SPX with a massive selling candle today. This one way past where we talked about the pullback into the midline, into the 21, and we actually took out this low and kind of pretty much closed right at that lower wick. That was the rate decision day last month. So that is really significant. I have no idea if it's going to just bounce from here because that's just all it seems to be happening in a bull market. But taking out these, or at least taking out this prior low, is significant. This was definitely a close below this low. I would not be surprised. We had some retesting, even back up to midline, totally within the realm of possibilities. How likely? I don't know. This definitely looks like it has some lower to go. I would guess a gap down Monday, but let's jump into the daily. I'm going to zoom out. So last we were kind of comparing to, I say, I say we, but I was comparing to these candles over here being kind of similar to what was going on up here and saying, hey, this looks like this should kind of move down. And then we had a couple more days where it stayed up or chopped around. And then here we are with there's the move down and here's the move down. But then I was looking at it again. It's like, well, okay, that's true for the all-time high situation. That was all-time high, right? In here and having the sell off from the all-time high. The way that this just played out, actually, I'm kind of thinking looks a little more like this, which wasn't quite the all-time high, but close. And one reason for that is it just had bigger candles. Like if you squint, that's the move that we just got today. And then I'm looking at some more. It's like, well, yeah, that was an all-time high. Maybe it was the start of this, where this did make an all-time high right up here. And we did just go past the midline. So maybe in a single day, we just did what like 5 days here just did and took out a low. So yeah, so maybe we're like there and then retest, and that would bring us back into wherever the 21 would be there. And then we go lower for a couple weeks. And then if we get below and retest to the channel and then roll down again and then roll down again, like how far down could we hit 5,500? Like let me see if I can move this. What I just drew here. Oh, I can. What if that happened? Oh, it's off the screen. Yeah, that'd be 5,500. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but it's like, okay, where which which all-time high sell-off did we just have today? Do we have one that's gonna bounce again? And we're really I'm trying to get back to the drawing tool. Come on, drawing tool. We're really, doing not that one. We're doing a little bit of this and then some chop and then that. Or are we going to do this one and we kind of chop and then we bounce and continue to make a new all-time high and then just continue to push up? And then are we going to do something like this where we end up pushing back up into a channel? Is it this one? Is it kind of this one? I mean, we have a whole bunch of possibilities here of things that we've done within this channel. So the other piece of this channel that I was doing the other day was kind of drawing this line over, and one one place I kind of liked it is here. Now, if I extend to the right, we okay, it kind of cuts through that candle a little bit. It just depends on how tight this gets to lows through here because there's a low of the bear candle, there's a low of the bull candle. There's that wick, which I'm not kind of drawing through right now, and there's that wick over here. And I was trying to match up like, well, which wicks did I hit? I had the low here, and then I had kind of like an S curve here. It's like I'm not doing this low. I'm not doing this S curve. I'm kind of doing a gap and an S curve here, and then I'm doing definitely an S curve here. Well, maybe not definitely an S curve, but another kind of pullback there. But drawing this at the same angle, we pretty much just cut through today's candle with that angle. Cut through right at the midline, I should say, right at the midline. So again, this would be another way of showing some resistance. We came back up to the midline because what do we do over here? We broke down and then we came back up. We actually got above it, made a new all-time high. Like, are we in this situation? It's just kind of frame it up like, okay, any of these things are possible. We need to see what the follow through is going to be. We can't just decide now, like, oh, this is going to happen. But we can be ready with some different opportunities. So, like, could it be this was what we were just making, and then we just did that today, broke down today, and we're going to chop around over here? I don't think we have the same support. We had some support here. We had the midline. I don't think we're at the same support. We do have some of this. We're not quite back to a significant enough rollover. I don't see this as strong of a place to have the bulls come in. 6,500 would be a stronger number. That'd be a little bit lower. That would line up with kind of these highs. Um, and I'm pointing at the price over here, 6,500. I'm not pointing at that part of, I'm not pointing at that. Anyway, I'm just doing this live, thinking through what's going to happen here. So I would, I guess, like to see, let's get into these highs. We're almost there and see what we do. If we continue down a little bit, take some profits on the puts and, we've got a little further to go. There's some long-term moving averages that are somewhere further below. But yeah, this is really significant. When we were doing so back over here, we were doing the 21, holding through that, and then we broke through right there, and this was still a bounce. It could be this setup, you know. So what's nice is we can look left and see, okay, what looks similar. So this candle definitely looks similar to this candle. Kind of starts within the choppiness. Well, we were just making all-time highs, kind of sloped down a little bit there. And a little bit further away from that uptrend line, but came right down into the midline, or at least moved down into the midline, bounced, rolled over, bounced again, rolled over a little bit more, recover a little more. And I think this is where, yeah, we made a new all-time high and then chopped around, made another new all-time high, and then this was like that trap. And so that was the bigger sell-off. Um, anyway, I'm back to drawing that again. I already do that. So let's get into today a little bit more. I can keep just speculating on all that. So one thing looking at today, this was a lot to take in, just how this moved. Sorry, one more thing I need to point out. This dotted line here, where this is located, it's not actually 6630. I go back to the daily, this dotted line, where it's located today, is around 6680. And it's because when I'm on the 3 minute here, for whatever reason, there's some extra minutes here that are like after hours, even though SPX doesn't trade after hours. So I don't know why they're coming in here. If I zoom out on the 3 minute, like all of these, when you stack them up, it moves this dotted line lower from where it adds more time, which makes it somehow be lower. It's just, I don't get it. So what would be easier is let's just look at this and ignore the red line right now, the red data line. So this is, I think I talked about some of the consolidation yesterday. We had some of this consolidation here. Looked like we were doing this again. We're moving up. I was saying, hey, we could continue like the fractal setup. Like we've been doing this. Can we break out and then go? So we started the breakout yesterday. Can we pull back a little bit and then go? Well, we did that. We actually basically did that in open. The option that I had up, thinking like, hey, if this pulls back a little bit, if the option gets a little bit lower, that was the 6760 call. And so I was looking at a price through here, trying to figure out, okay, this is going to be let's see, when I did the video, it was somewhere over here. So it's like, okay, this is still a little too expensive. Maybe if it could pull down to like 2 or between like 2 and 3. Sorry, I do not remember exactly what I said, but it's already trading a little bit below or right around 3. If we can get a pullback down to like 2, that might be a good place. Well, it didn't actually come down to that price. It opened right around 4. It opened exactly at 4. And I was keep an eye on this, just see like, hey, I talked about it. Is this going to be the option that offers us an entry? The low that we got over here was 2.45, still not low enough for what I wanted. Um, but just seeing that, hey, look, it pulled back into a range that it was doing in the SPX options pre-market. Yeah, it kind of gave that setup that it was right back into this low. It was a great place to buy. And I'll say this again, like it was a great place to be buying through this consolidation, anticipating that it was going to consolidate here. Come on, drawing tool. Consolidate here and then break out, which was in keeping with kind of the other consolidations here, breakout, I didn't pull that one too good. Go like this, continue on up, consolidate, and then continue. It should continue. That's what we've been seeing. It's, we'll start this one. We started the breakout, and go back and watch yesterday's video because I did talk about this. It kind of consolidates, if you can call that, breaks out, chops around, keeps moving up. Then it's some consolidation here. So it's like we've been doing lots of consolidation, lots of moves back up. But today, obviously, I don't have it on the screen yet for today. But today, something happened, news, whatever. Just gotta watch the chart. The big sell-off happened. We took out yesterday's low by like double the range. Like we were at 66.75 in no time. And it's like, what is going on down here? And we continued lower. So let me put some of this on the screen. Let me pull that back a little bit. Okay. So again, ignore the red line down here. I just want to kind of draw out what I'm seeing. So consolidation, expecting it to go bullish, did not go bearish. The only way you could be in this bearish at this point is if you were just doing a lottery trade, like just throwing your money at it, or if you were getting into some out of the money, like the 66.70 would have been great because I'll show you, but the price was great. 67.10 would have been okay. 67.15, 20, 20 and 25, not great, but I mean, there's still a chance you could have gotten into that. I actually want to zoom in on this a little bit more now that we're moving down a little bit. Okay. Let's just look at this part of today. So stretched out the consolidation. Okay. It did not break out. Didn't do that. Instantly broke down. And it's like, are you buying puts on this? No, you gotta wait for that bull candle. Gotta wait for a bull candle. Bull candle. You got a bunch of them. And how high is this going to go? Is it going to come back all the way? Is this the bounce? Is it going to go now, and trap us? That's going through my head too. And got a couple of got a couple of bull candles. This is a great S curve. And then we just rolled down a bunch of bear candles in a row. We started to put in some bookends here and here with this rest after battle and started to look like a reverse. Nope, this is more consolidation. And it's like, okay, what's now? Are we going to bounce? We did a low consolidation, we did a high consolidation and broke down. We did a low consolidation. Now we're going to break up, right? The nice thing was it's early enough in the day. Anything could really happen. Like anything was possible. It's only noon. And so what happened next? I'm going to keep redrawing this and moving along in the day because it just makes it easier to walk through the day. There's the consolidation. Okay, just like this consolidation, we broke down. We broke down. This was our retest. It did not come anywhere near the low. This is your S curve. This is your retest. Look at that. Came right back into the low. And I'm actually drawing this low on the dotted line, even though it's not really meant for that. But the 66.30 price is where that retested really nicely. That's where to get in bearish because it S curved. That would have worked really well. So let's move forward a little bit more. All right. Still going sideways. Oh, you know what? This looks like some more consolidation. Look at that. Just like yesterday, we consolidated, then we kind of broke down. Then we did some more consolidation, a little bit lower, and then we broke down. It's really shaping up just like yesterday's move. Let me zoom back out. I'm going to frame this up. Let me get this just yesterday and today. Actually, let me do a little bit of the previous day so I can move forward. Okay. Let me grab just this. This is pretty much yesterday and today. Oh, it does not show as cleanly as I wanted. Okay, what I was trying to do, and you can go back and watch yesterday's video, is show the consolidation here, and then like a breakdown, retest, breakdown, consolidation again, and then not a breakdown. Nope, it started to break out. And so we had a consolidation here, breakdown, S curve, consolidation here, breakdown, S curve. Okay, that worked really well. Then we started consolidating again, and then this broke down again, retest. This retest came back into kind of this low, not quite into this low. So the retest, I'll draw it in orange. So we got a really nice retest here, really nice retest, at least a rest here. Then we kind of did it again. We retested here, back into like this low. All right. So we kept moving lower and retesting back near, maybe not at, but at least near where we had um, a previous low. We haven't been doing that. So when we retested this one over here yesterday, yeah, that worked back into kind of this the consolidation. We broke down, kind of retested here and here a little bit into the lows over here, but then we didn't ultimately keep rolling over. And so something shifted today, obviously, but we weren't doing that yesterday. Now we're doing that today. If we continue to have some consolidation, breakdown, retest, and retest back up into the range or not quite to the range and then roll over. I mean, you don't know you're rolling over until you actually roll over. So look for those locations, look for these locations to get in bearish. I traded some of this for a nice profit towards the end of the day. I love doing those end of the week, end of the day, zero DTE, risking $100 sort of options. And this one moved really nicely from here. It didn't quite hit my target. I had to exit for a different target. But that was a great move right here at the end of the day. And I was risking absolute zero. So it's like I was okay losing that entire value of the option. I really was trying to wait because the options were still so expensive. So I was like, okay, how long do I want to wait? This is the chart's looking like it's retesting. Yep, we got up into this and actually moved an extra minute or two past where I thought it was because I was looking at 245. And I think 247 I ended up getting filled up a little higher, which was fine. And then it did roll over. So I could have paid a little less for the option, but it still worked out really well. So that was a great trade there at the very end of the day. Let's see if I go back to looking at, looking at that. Try and get this set back up. Looking at this. I'm looking at this. So here's the 6760 call that I looked at yesterday that we were just looking at today. Here is the 6700 put that, yeah, somebody could have bought for $100, bought for $100 for one of them. And that would have been during this consolidation, anticipating, hey, maybe it's going to break down, and be in it for just a bear move. Probably would have been exiting anywhere along this first candle, especially because you probably would have had your target at like 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. You wouldn't have held your target out to, oh, look, it went to almost 150 points in the money. You wouldn't necessarily have your target at 110, 120, 130. That's turning, I'm even just trying to think through the math of it. You would have spent $1 down here. So $1, and you would have turned it into, I'm still even trying to think of it. $100. So 1.00 is actually $100. And this would have been 100.00. So $10,000 up at this price. And it still went past that. Literally, this option went from less than $100 into $14,000 because of the massive move. This is incredibly rare for it to happen, but it's happened within this channel on the daily. Where's my daily chart? It's happened here on this day, going back to December 18th. This range was 202 points. Today's candle, the range was 211 points. We had this candle over here. I know that's outside the channel. 222 points. We had this candle. I'm looking at the bear ones. 357 points. What? I didn't remember that that one was so large there. 357. This one with the lower wick, 237. These bigger candles can happen. And I mean, if we get some more bear candles in a row, it's more likely we're going to have something like this just be possible. But we've, you know, this is kind of a reset. It's very much a reset. And a lot of just grind higher candles when you compare it to how big of a bear move you can have on one day versus just how big these bull candles are. You don't want to just count on this happening, but they do happen, and they happen a little more often than you expect when you're not expecting them. You know, everyone's just like, oh, it's going to go a little higher. It's going to keep pushing. You know, it's like, is it really going to actually, are we ever going to go bearish again? Sure enough, we did. So back to this. I just want to show that one. That's not the one I was in. I was in the 60, oh, 65.50. What price? It was 65.50. 65.60. It was 65.60. It was this one. So I was in the 65.60. Wasn't looking anywhere in here to buy it. Nope. I was looking to buy for $1. So I got filled at 2:37 p.m. And that was on that S curve, that retest, and was looking for 11. I was looking for 11 for my target. And I was a couple minutes. I think in this candle, it's like, it's not so close. I just needed to hit 11. I'll be out. And it's like, it's not happening. So I had the order ready to exit for $8 instead. Cause it's like, I don't want to play around with how much this can fluctuate. I will if I have to, but it's like anything more than $1, I'll be profitable on that trade. So I, once I'm like, this is not hitting, let me just get out at 8, filled instantly at 8. And I think that was at 257. I just logged this. Yeah. So I was in it for 10 minutes and I went from $1 to $8. Didn't quite hit 11. Yeah, that would have been nice had it hit 11. Um, but it would have hit 10. I could have done a 10x, right? Just not 10 R's. You know, risking $100. So anyway, so that was the one that I was in. But there were so many opportunities in here to just get into a put. But which put? When do you get in? You know, at what point? And that's where it's so important to understand what is the framework here? What is shaping up that we can look for? Here's some consolidation. Okay, so during that consolidation, this option, which is pretty far away, 65.60, this came down to under a buck. And then it ran up to, you know, as this broke down, we got close to 6,600. And this ran up, and it could have been a nice trade to go from like $1 up to $4 or $5. Um, the 6,600 puts, so this would have been more expensive here, but still reasonable. So this, again, this consolidation, if you're getting in during the consolidation or if you're getting into the retest, this retest over here, that came down to about 4. So you could have bought at 4 and flipped it out as it's giving you a couple bear candles. And this is the kind of setups where it's like, okay, be in and out quick. So like, okay, you're getting in at a good spot, buy at 4, flip it out after a few bear candles, maybe after this bear candle or on this bear candle, and it's near 6,600, like 66.15, and you're getting out, and that would have been getting out. Let's say you bought at 4 and you exited at 7 during in that candle. That's $300 right there. You know, buy at 4, stop at 3. You know, it's, you don't know that it's not going to continue to push up, but it, you have to have some trust that it's going to follow the trend. Um, that's hard for me to do, is trust anything going on in the market. I think trust the setups, trust that, okay, this is the S curve. This is playing out, you know, how it's retesting. You know, this is a S curve that's retesting a consolidation that's already broken out. So it is bearish. This is just giving me a great opportunity to get in after a number of bull candles. This is like the most strength. I was in this bullish and I got out like right up here. I traded that. Oh, I was in the SPY with that one. Just scalping, just getting out of a little bit here, and it's moved back up. And I was asking too much at one point. I had my target a little too far, and it's like, let me just bring that target down. I think you can get here, maybe not there. Sure enough, that moved nicely um, with a slightly smaller target, and just basically, um, yeah, just scalped a little bit. So anyway, we're not going to jump over to SPY, but looks about the same as all this. Um, I think there was probably some opportunities I missed through here as this is breaking down. If I go back to the 65.50 call, I'm sorry, 65.50 put. As this consolidated, here's that upper wick. Now you don't know it's an upper wick as the candle's forming, but it's retesting into a low that would have been at right at 2 o'clock. So right at 2 o'clock, we were doing that candle. Yeah, that one would have been, could have bought for $1. It pulled all the way back to about 0.5, 0.55, and then moved up. Yeah, so this is where you had a really nice rollover here. I missed this one, but this would have been a great setup to get in with, as that wick is coming in, you're getting in at $1. You've got absolute zero, so you don't care that it comes down to 0.5. You could lose that much or more, and then ride that run back up either to this high. That would have been kind of scalping it from 1 up to 2 or 2.5, or from 1 up to the previous high, like 4 over here. Probably would not have hit this exact high through here just because you don't know how far that's going to run. What price was that? The actual high was 6.9. Yeah, there's nothing prior that it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to set my target at 6.9 now. Even if you had set your target at 7.1 would have been the high here. 7 might have filled, but you just don't know. You gotta, as it's moving in a direction, that's where you gotta either just kind of scalp out of it or have a set value you're going to go for and just know that, okay, if it doesn't get there, what are you going to take instead? Are you going to just move a stop to $1? Are you going to let it go all the way to zero? Those hurt sometimes when it's like, oh, it made it so high up and then it just collapses in the last couple of minutes. Um, that's obviously the risk. And, learning how to do that mentally can be really challenging because it makes you feel like, hey, I'm failing because I let it go to zero where I could have been out for a couple $100 a couple minutes ago. But that's what you're doing, playing with the end of the day, playing with the risk there, and just got to know exactly what you're dealing with. So I've been rambling on by quite a bit of stuff tonight. I may do another video this weekend looking at this some more, kind of going back over it. Um, I need to get a little more distance from how things all played out today because it was a really great day to see some bear moves, and I was happy I was taking advantage of some of it. Got a little bullish trade in here, got some bearishness in here, and swing trades. Anything that's been setting up to get in bearish way up here. That's making money today. So um, all of that is going really good. So having a little bit of distance, reflecting on, hey, how is all this moving? It's really helpful. So I may do another video, if not till Monday. Anyway, keep checking this one out. Hope this helps. This is Justin. Thanks.